waiting for some numbers to drop. We get jobless claims first. They come in, surprise, 210,000. That was last week's initial number. We'll see what the revision is. On a continuing claims basis, 1,819,000. That is up by 12,000 from last week, but essentially noise in the greater context of things. The other numbers out at this morning are the GDP numbers, but this is the third estimate for GDP, so it isn't particularly meaningful. Comes in at 3.4%, though. That is significantly higher than the initially reported 3.2%. Initially it was 3.1, then it was 3.2, now it's 3.4. Personal consumption 3.3, up from 3.0. The quarterly GDP price index for the fourth quarter 1.6%, and the core 2%. Those are a little changed from the initial reporting. The one number I want to look up, and I know John wants to give you the market numbers, is the fourth quarter profit numbers we get in these numbers.
Jobless claims, Bramo, 210. I mean, what else can you say about the labour market? The unemployment rate is south of 4%. Claims are at 210. It's hard to sit here and scream this labour market's falling apart if jobless claims keep coming through around 200,000 every single week.
I'm old enough to remember a couple of months ago when people were saying that that mattered, and actually the Fed was going to be paying attention to this and saying, well, the labor market's not cracking, we need to hold rates higher for longer. Now we're in a zone where nobody cares. This is not a data-dependent market unless it's bad data that affects stock markets. But if it's good data, it has no negative consequence with the potential for the Fed holding rates higher because they've told us they want to cut. And I think that is what we're seeing in this market.
Very true. Equity's just about positive. For a second look at this economic data, Mike, what have you got?
Well, what we're looking at here is basically increases in consumer spending, exports, and state and local government spending. That's what pushed the number up significantly. Residential fixed investment also up, which is housing sales. Of course, they've been so low that really haven't contributed anything. Current dollar personal income increased by $219.5 billion, so we're making a little bit more money. Personal saving, $809.2 billion, and I haven't run across the profits number yet. I'm still looking for that, but we'll get that for you.
Can you help me with something? First revision, second revision, third revision. Why all the revisions, and why are they continually going upward? It's like we can't get the economy. Fourth revision is coming. Why do they keep just getting better and better as we look back at what has happened over the past couple of months?
It's more source data. When they put out the first one, they don't have all the numbers in because it takes time to put together the trade numbers and the inventory numbers in particular, and so those get added into the first revision, and we get advanced numbers on those now, but they have to be massaged, and you get more information about all of these categories as the months go on. So by the third revision, they have it pretty close. There is a fourth revision that will come next year when they benchmark these things. And it's funny because if you look back at some of the turning points for the Fed, the data that the Fed had in front of it at the time can be completely different from what it looks like a year later or so. And that's one of the problems with being on the Fed that you don't have if you're being on Twitter or X. You can comment on stuff like, of course they should have done this, but that's not the number at the time that they were dealing with.